Hello and welcome to the second video in the North Country Community College Moodle Rooms video series for instructors. In this video we will focus on adding course content. Once you have set up the format of the course, which we covered in the first video, you'll see we're using the same course and staying with the weekly format setup. First thing to notice on this page is that you only have a view of one section of the course. And there aren't a lot of options to add anything on this page. That is a cue that the Turn Editing On button is not yet turned on. So when I go into my course, I begin by turning the Editing button on. You can see our view changed a little bit. We now have a few more options to add some content, and you can see each section of the course more easily on the same page. So we'll first look at the types of content that you can add. There are two main categories, resources and activities. And the main difference between resource and activities are that resources are static, activities are dynamic. And so a resource is something like a file, a folder, importing a content package, linking to a URL, whereas activities include discussion forums, assignments, a chat room, interactive features where you want the students to submit directly into that module, or it's a graded activity that you would like added to the gradebook. In those cases, you would choose to add an activity. We will go over adding some basic resources and a basic activity in this video to get you accustomed to the process. Since we're in the introductory tasks section of the course, we will add the syllabus as our first file. Choose Add a File, and it will require a name, and a description. In this case, my title and my description will be the same, and so I'll simply copy and paste the same here. And I'm going to choose not to display this description on the course page. However, if your title and your description are different, you may want to click this so that there's a description of the document you are loading on the page. So to actually add the document, you can drag and drop from your desktop or a folder, or simply select a file. You'll see this looks very similar to an email attachment. Find the document we wish to add and upload the file, and there it will appear right there on the course page. And so there's another option under the Add a File option, and this would be the appearance. It defaults to an automatic where it will automatically appear on the page, but you do have a few other options here. Couple of recommendations. I do not use the forced download feature in my classes simply because of different operating speeds on student computers. This may take a long time for students, where if it's not a forced download, they may be able to view the document and print it out or save it somewhere without physically downloading it. And so I keep mine at automatic. However, I do know a number of instructors like to use the pop-up feature, which will allow the document to display in another window so that students can stay on the main Moodle Rooms page and also see the document. So there are some options there. And as with each page, you will want to save it and return to the course, where you can see your document has been added right into the introductory section where we wanted it. The second resource I will demonstrate using in this video is the URL. And so I would like my students to view the introductory video on Moodle Rooms. And again, my description will be the same. And here, instead of uploading a file, we're simply going to copy and paste an external URL into this space. So I will go to the YouTube page where I have the video, go back to the Moodle Rooms page and paste the link there. Choose a link. And again, you have some options with appearance, pixel, and you can see some similar options with regard to how the URL will display. Save and return to course, and you can see our course content appears where we'd like it on the page. If you'd like to move your documents around within these sections or among sections, choose this feature, and you can see you can move your document just about anywhere on your course, and that has been a very helpful feature that I've found. So now we will add an activity, and we'll choose the assignment feature. And one thing to point out, as with the introductory video, with each feature, Moodle Rooms has provided a question mark, which gives a description of what you can do with each feature, so that may be helpful. Again, the assignment name, I might title this assignment number 1. And perhaps I want them to read first chapter and answer questions in a document titled assignment number 1. And since this description is different from the title, I'm going to click Display Description on Course Page. So here's where you have some options to allow submissions earlier than the due date, and you have a due date and a cutoff date. And so since my course is starting September 1st, I might want to allow submissions from September 3rd, even though my due date might not be until September 7th. And here you'll see there are times, and this is military time. So I generally set mine to 23:59. All of my assignments, 55 in this case, all of my assignments are due right before midnight to try to make it easier for students to keep track of. Okay. And then there's also a cutoff date. So the due date tells students when they are late with assignments, but it will still allow them to submit unless you enable this cutoff date feature. So let's say you wanted to allow students to submit up until the 10th of September, but not after that if you're going to maybe deduct points, but allow late submissions. The cutoff date allows you to do that. Here you have submission types. And so in this case, I have put instructions to answer questions in a document titled assignment number 1. So that's going to be a file submission. I will have students upload that file into the assignment portal. The other option I would have is that they could also just enter online text. This works well for short answers. However, I'm encouraging students oftentimes to create Word documents for all their submissions so that they have a record of what they've written, and that also allows them to edit what they submit a little more carefully. You can enable a word limit or not, and you can allow for more than one file to be uploaded if you choose. And you can limit the size of the file, however it defaults to 1 megabyte. So there are a number of options with feedback. You can click this and you can provide feedback to students, and each of these tells you what these entail, each of these question marks. Okay. Submission settings, you can require students to click a submit button. You can require that they accept a submission statement. and then you can limit whether or not they can reopen an attempt and how many attempts you may allow them to submit. I do not require students to click an additional submit button. There is an automatic setting that once they hit add submission, it will go ahead and submit the assignment. There are various notifications, and this is more for your purposes. It notifies you about whether or not a student has submitted an assignment. And then under the grading option, this assignment will automatically be added to the gradebook. If you have set up your gradebook initially, you can identify a category. However, if you have not set up your gradebook, it will go into an uncategorized section. So up here, under a grade type, you have none. Let's say you want to add the assignment, but you're not going to grade it. That would be an option. You can grade it on a scale, or you can grade it on points. And point is the traditional type of grading where you have a point value assigned to each assignment. So you also have some grading method options. Simple direct grading, again, is the traditional grading method, but you could use a checklist and award certain points according to what has been accomplished on the checklist, a marking guide, or a rubric. And these two are very similar. The difference between a marking guide and a rubric is that the marking guide allows you to grade anywhere from 0 to 20 points or however many points in a category. A rubric allows for a certain number of set points if that category has been completed. And another video will talk about setting up rubrics and marking guides. There's an option to do blind marking so that you can open an assignment without seeing who the student is. And marking workflow and marking allocation are options if you have a long project that you want to keep track of in stages with grading. So then you'd save and return to course. And you'll see assignment 1 has been added under introductory tasks. Okay, and students will be able to submit in the assignment section, and it will keep track of the number of submissions as they come in. Let's say we wanted to move this assignment out of introductory tasks and into our first week. After we've created it, you can easily do that by clicking the move, and we could move it into the top of section August 31st to September 6th, and there it appears. So there are a number of other activities and resources that you can add. There will be successive videos that go into some of these in more detail, but this will get you started with exploring some of these features and options within the program. Thank you.